Hi, it's Corrine. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today I'm sharing a handmade A2 sized card, and I'm using Altenew's Magnificent Magnolias die set. I also use the stamp as well. This is just a beautiful set that they came out with. Since making this card, I've made several other cards using this stamp and die set. They are just absolutely beautiful. So I went ahead and cut out several layers of the flowers with vellum and white cardstock. I'm using Hammermill 80 pound, and it actually cut through both the white and vellum at the same time. So I ran those through my die cut machine, and off camera I cut a bunch of flowers out. It comes with 4 different types of flowers. I have a bunch of them cut out. I did use a metal shim behind it just to give myself a clean cut. So these are using the Altenew's keyhole system, which really makes these simple to put together. I spent a day just cutting out a bunch of flowers, making a bunch of cards, and I still have quite a few left over. So just following the instruction guide that comes with the die set, and basically you just line up the keyhole system. So some will have arrows, some will have little keyholes, some will have what look like little snowmen, and they also will have numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you just line them up in that order. So for these, I added the vellum to the very top piece just to kind of soften the look of the white, and I was really happy with how that turned out. So I'm using translucent foliage. It's the embossing folder, and I pulled out some cardstock that I had in my stash, and I cut, using the die cut from those, I cut out some leaves. Once I cut the leaves out, I placed them inside of the embossing folder. Some of them didn't line up perfectly, but you'll see they turn out so pretty. It just gives them a little bit of an embossed look. So again, off camera, I did quite a few leaves as well, but I'm just showing you, I believe I'm showing you 3 different ones here. So you just kind of line them up. You can tape them down if you want. I didn't think it was necessary because if they didn't line up perfect, I wasn't worried about it. So once I was happy with those, I ran those through my Sizzix Big Shot machine. And I'll give you a closer look up here in just a moment of how the embossing turned out. They turn out really pretty. The Magnificent Magnolias die set doesn't come with leaves, so I just looked through my stash and I used these. And look how pretty that looks. I was super happy with how those turned out. So again, I have a bunch of those. For my card base, I'm using a shimmer cardstock. I believe it's by Basil, and cutting it, scoring it to an A2 sized card. And then I will add this really pretty mint color to the top of it. I'm just kind of taping this into my scoreboard and taping the card closed so I can add it directly onto my card base and use my scoreboard to line it up perfectly right in that corner. But I didn't want my card base to move, so I taped that down temporarily. I just set that tape aside. I can use that again. And now I'm using some thick cardstock for a layering piece, going around and embossing some lines to give it a little bit of something extra. In the end, I'm not sure you see this very well, but I did want a white layer or a white base in case the flowers didn't completely cover it. You wouldn't be able to tell. You would see white below it. It also adds some stability to my card. So I cut this layering piece a little bit smaller than my card base, added that on with some Beacon Fabri-Tac. And like I said, in the end, I don't know if you actually see it, but I wasn't 100% sure where I was going with this card at the time. So I added that on. So now I'm just pulling out several of the flowers. I'm going to add them to the entire front of my card base. I'm just going to lay them out what I think looks good. Once I'm happy with that, I will start adhering those down. And then I decided to just kind of tuck the leaves in between the flowers, just whatever looked good to me at the time. So it would have probably been a little bit easier to use hot glue. The Fabri-Tac does glue it down pretty quickly, but instant would have been a little bit better. But as you can see, I changed my mind a little bit and kind of turned the flowers around. So I guess maybe some wet glue was the best option at this point. So I glued down just some white flowers at first, and on top of those, I'm gluing on the flowers that have the vellum. Like I said, just to kind of soften the look a little. And this card is just turned out so pretty. I'm adding some magnets to the top, giving that a chance to dry. And now off screen, I plugged in my hot glue gun, gave it a chance to heat up, and I will use that to tack down my leaves because I didn't want to have to wait for them to dry. So I'm just kind of tucking them here and there, trying to decide what looks good. Once I'm happy with that, I will then add some hot glue and put them back in. I do also go back and add centers to all my flowers. Again, I wasn't sure what I wanted to use, so I decided to leave the centers off until I finished the card itself. So here I'm just kind of lifting some of the flowers as well and then gluing the leaves down, adding a little bit behind the flowers just to secure everything in place. If you work with hot glue, you will get those hot glue strings. A great way to get rid of them is just use your heat tool. Heat it up and just kind of go quickly over it. You don't want to stay on the card too long because of the vellum. Just quickly go over it and it'll just make all those little strings disappear. So for the Lots of Love, I first tried it on white cardstock with a green ink. I did not like the look of it, so I chose to use the cardstock, the green cardstock, stamp it down in white and emboss it with some fine detail embossing powder, and I really like the look of that. And the previous piece that I didn't show on camera that I tried with the white, I'll use as a layering piece. I tried a couple different things. I believe I tried green with green ink as well. I didn't like that either, but I really like the white heat embossed. So once I've cleaned up the embossing, I took my heat gun to it. Once it was melted and smooth, I used the coordinating die cut to cut it out. For that, I used the piece that I originally cut out and was able to line it up that way. So I got it to line up nicely because I think I did it one other time. Yeah, I did it one other time in that green and it did not line up nicely. But again, I'll just use that to layer it underneath. So I have a little bit of thickness and stability to my die cut. I love this font. I think this will make a beautiful either wedding card, graduation card, or even a birthday card. I have not added a sentiment to the inside. I do like to finish off the inside of my cards, but I figured I would wait to decide if it is going to be a birthday card. I'll add a happy birthday sentiment in like a soft green color to the inside. So for the center of the flowers, I just added the die cut, the center die cut that comes with the flowers in white, and then I added a piece. It was a little too stark white, so I added another layer of the vellum to soften that as well. And then to complete the centers, I use some clear dewdrops. So pretty. I'm so addicted to using those. I added the larger ones to the center, and I just think they turned out so pretty on that. The glue behind it will dry clear, so it just gives it a clear center to them. So pretty. This card is very dimensional. It would not, I would have to put it in a bubble envelope or maybe a small box to send it, but I plan on using it hand delivering it. So again, I made several flowers off screen, so I'm just keeping all of those for future cards in a little zipper pouch. And I wanted to write down, I doubt I'll forget, but you never know. So I wrote down the name of the stamp set that I used in case I want to make more with those flowers that I already have. Cutting another matching piece of that mint and white to go on the inside. And as mentioned, once I'm ready to give this card, I will then finish the inside with a stamped sentiment and maybe add another little flower or something to it. So I just tape that in place in order to hold it still so I can center that white layering piece. And now I'm using my magnets to do the same to get this centered for the inside of the card. I always make matching envelopes, so I just made an envelope using my We Are Makers envelope punch board, and I made the envelope a little bit larger. It's using a shimmer cardstock that I have. I believe it's by Basil, and I made it a little bit larger being that it is dimensional so it fits inside. And I also use that same shimmer cardstock for the inside piece as well, so it coordinates. So here's a closer look. You do see that matting piece stick out just slightly, and I just absolutely am in love with how this card turned out. I hope you enjoyed it too. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. And if you're curious of that paper that I use, it is the Craft Smith brand from Michaels in warm neutrals. Hope you consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a like. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have a great day.